We'd love to hear your stories about my mom and your stories about her at Sun Lakes. And just let's celebrate her today. To say this is one of the most difficult things I've ever had to do is an understatement. The reason it's difficult is not only because I'm afraid I'm going to cry, but because there's so much in my heart that I want to make sure I say. I feel like there are no real words to truly do justice and honor my amazing mom. I've had so many words and thoughts floating around in my head the past few weeks, and I wasn't ready to part with any of them. But alas, here we are, and here I go. When Lisa and I were sitting vigil at my mom's hospital bedside a few weeks ago, we held hands. We held her hands, with her painted blue nails left over from celebrating Hanukkah. We laughed, we cried. We tried to comfort my mom by telling her stories and gawking over the good-looking doctors who were treating her. Okay, that was Lisa, not me. And we were trying to make sense of the horrible situation we found ourselves in. The good news is that Lisa and I both agree. We have no regrets. I had a wonderful relationship with my mom from the moment I can remember, and people tell me that's rare. We didn't fight when I was a teenager. I don't think I ever yelled at her and told her I hated her. We always talked about how lucky we were to have the kind of bond that people really only dream about. My mom encouraged me in every endeavor I undertook, whether it was gymnastics, swimming, climbing trees, or making new friends. She was always there telling me I could do it and gently pushing me to always be my best. I knew she always had my back, even though that wasn't even a saying back then. But she did, right up until now. My mom showed up for all of us in every way possible. I was on the swim team at our local pool and in high school for many years. I remember coming home shivering after early morning practices, and my mom would be ready for me with her signature egg sandwich and hot chocolate. I devoured it in the sun on our porch every single day. When we had school assignments, I have vivid memories of her sitting with us at the kitchen table, helping us make dioramas or whatever else we needed to get done. She was always so creative and energetic, and you could tell she was having fun helping us, or at least she made us believe she was. She made dinner every single night, and we had to come in promptly at 5:30 to eat together as a family. I didn't appreciate it or realize it at the time, but I loved that ritual, and as I became a parent, Murray and I did our best to emulate that whenever we could. Murray, I know you know how much my mom loved you, like a son. She always used to tell me how happy she was when she'd leave our house or we'd leave hers. She saw the love in our family. I know she told you many times what a great husband and father you are, and I agree. As young kids, we used to love taking turns sleeping in her bed when my dad was out of town. He traveled a lot for business back then, and the three of us were always so excited. We knew we'd have pancakes for dinner and get to take turns cuddling with her in her room. David, may he rest in peace, our dear brother, isn't here to eulogize my mom, but one of my all-time favorite childhood stories belongs to him. He loved going down to the creek, fishing for crawdads, guppies, and tadpoles, whatever he could find. My mom always provided the containers and the encouragement and the enthusiasm. And he always came home smelling like a swamp. It didn't matter. She greeted him and his creatures with a huge smile and congratulated him on his catch. After one particularly successful trip, David insisted we could actually eat these crawfish for dinner. There was no internet back then, no way to research how to properly cook them. But my mom was not deterred. She sat with him as they shelled them and somehow prepared them for all of us to enjoy. That was my mom. She didn't say no very often. She let us discover who we were and cheered us on every step of the way. One night in high school, all five of us were sitting at the dinner table, talking about an upcoming vacation my parents were taking, where the three of us kids were going to be left home alone. David and I were planning, a small get-together with friends, and I decided to be honest with them. My dad said, in his stern way, "That's fine, but I don't want to hear about smoking dope or dropping acid." And my mom, innocent Janice, says, "You better not drop acid. If you drop it on the carpet, it'll burn a hole right through it." And she was serious. She could laugh with us, she could laugh at herself, and she brought joy into every room she entered. And just for the record, there was no dope smoked and no acid was dropped. The carpets remained intact. My mom and I shared a birthday week, so we always found a way to celebrate together. The year I turned 27, I said, "Mom, this is a big year. I'm half your age." She said, "Cindy, haven't you always been half my age?" I said, "Mom, when I was 2, were you 4? We laughed so hard, and it became an ongoing joke. And every year since that year, we've talked about that conversation and made a joke about our age and the differences in our age. As we grew older, our relationships with her became even more meaningful, centered around our work, our marriages, and our children. To say she was an amazing grandmother is the understatement of the year. I'm not going to say too much here because some of her grandchildren are going to speak today. But if I am ever lucky enough to be a grandma, I will model what she did to a T. She got into their world, she sat on the floor, she played whatever they wanted to play. It was always about them. In recent years, Lisa and I bought her an iPhone for her birthday. It turned out to be one of the greatest gifts we ever gave her. We set up group texts, we shared photos weekly, and checked in with each other whenever our hearts desired. Now, she would agree that it was a great gift, but she might argue that teaching her Amazon Prime was an even better one. To my mom, Amazon was retail therapy at its finest. She was all about loving people. Everywhere she went, she made friends. She talked to everyone, she asked questions, she cared. She remembered details. Her friends from Albertsons couldn't make it here today, but when we shopped with her, she introduced us to everyone, from the Starbucks barista to the produce manager to the checkers. They were her community. And I don't know if any of you went into Albertsons in the last few weeks, but they put together this beautiful pink shrine in her honor with photos and cards and flowers. Something I have never seen done before and probably never will again. It meant so much to us. And what a testament to her love and to her reach. This was truly a gift. Lisa and I did go to Albertsons and thank them yesterday. In recent years, we shared a love of Mahjong. My mom was a pro. She played for over 50 years and has the card collection to prove it. My Maj friends who are here with me today are witness to me always wanting to share Mahjong with her even when we weren't playing together. Whenever I had a great hand, I would take a picture and say, "I can't wait to tell my mom about this." Sitting at the Mahjong table is hard these days, knowing I can't share those joys, and let's be honest, frustrations, with her anymore. My mom embodied the saying, "You can't take it with you." She loved withdrawing her $100 bills to hand out to all of us just because. It didn't have to be for a special occasion. She was always just happy that we were all together. Her only request was that we send her pictures of what we spent money on. It brought her joy to give. More than any other story or lesson, it was the way my mom loved. We all, in this room, witnessed her fierce loyalty to my dad, her husband of 67 years. She honored her word, even when it was hard. She was a role model in how to love with integrity and kindness, even in the most challenging of circumstances. The way she loved is now the way I want to live my life. My mom was my hero. She was my role model, my confidant, my friend. I will cherish our time together for the rest of my days. I miss her so much already, and I will carry her with me forever. I love you, Mom. I went on ChatGPT and it said we could do as long as we wanted because we're the daughters.
Thanks for the plan. I do not want to be here. I truly don't. But if I were not, I wouldn't have an opportunity.
Is that better, tap
Yes.
table?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm starting again, tap table. I don't want to be here. Yeah? Okay. I truly don't. But if I weren't, I wouldn't get to properly honor the life and legacy of my sweet mom. So, under protest, here I go. You're all here because we all share one extraordinary truth. We won the lottery because Janice Ellman loved us. And if you were fortunate enough to be loved by Janice, you already understand everything I'm about to say. Cindy, David, and I lucked out beyond measure when we were given Janice as our mom. We never doubted how deeply we were loved, not for a single day. Her love was not quiet. It wasn't conditional. It was constant, creative, unmistakable. It was love shouted from the rooftops. David isn't here with us today, but we are certain he's with her. And if he were standing here, this is for you, Grant, and if he were standing here, he'd be grinning and telling anyone within earshot, my mother is better than your mother. He'd be right. This is not a contest. It's a fact. There was no more loving, devoted, extraordinary mother than mine, hands down. She lived every day as if it were her last. And fortunately for us, she lived exactly 33,681 of them, each filled with exuberance, curiosity, and joy. Even when the world turned gray, she somehow stayed sunny. She rooted for the underdog, she was kind to every creature, and she never, ever said a mean word about anyone. If that sounds too good to be true, you clearly knew her. We say my mom sprinkled fairy dust wherever she went, on friends, family, complete strangers. You might not have seen it, but it was there. If time allowed, every single person in this room could share a Janice Ellman fairy dust moment. So please hold on to them because we do want to hear them. My mom showed her love in 1,000 unforgettable ways. If you were ever invited to peer into her sacred and favorite drawer, you'd know you were in her inner circle. Here's a hint. I am not talking about her kitchen utensil drawer. I'm talking about Janice's, I think I got it. Thank you. Rather, it was Janice's private stash of lipsticks. Now, lipstick may not resonate with everyone here, but it was as serious as curing cancer or landing on Mars to her. I felt close to her when we were discussing lipstick, looking at photos of models wearing lipstick, but closest when trying on or buying it together. Yes, you guessed it, at Sephora. We would analyze the sheen and shimmer factor, whether it complemented our skin tone or transformed us into the model who was wearing the lipstick. If it met all or most of those tests, it won a coveted slot in her drawer. I often imagine her sitting on her pink fluffy seat before her vanity, selecting her color of the day. This story may sound superficial, but it was actually the very core of who my mom was. The little things mattered. And if a new tube of lipstick could lift her spirits, well, bring it on. Because the new color could propel her to enthusiastically attend her discussion group, sip a blended Starbucks, or face dinner. This ritual will stay with me always.
I only wish I could show her the new gloss that's in my purse. When it was time for me to grow up and step into the world, I already knew how. Confidence does not start with credentials. It starts with deciding you're ready. I hated law school. I truly hated it. During my first year, she called me while I was waiting to go back after Thanksgiving. I burst into tears. Without hesitation, she told me I did not have to return. A retired teacher knew that my happiness mattered more than prestige. And because she gave me permission to stay, well, I went back. Cindy is someone I want to talk about briefly, even though you're standing right here. When I was born, our grandmother, Becky, cried. When my mom asked why, she said, because now Cindy has a sister to go through life with. She was right. Thank you, Cindy, for going through life with me. Sun Lakes just wasn't where our mom lived. It was where she thrived. She cherished every lunch, every book club, tap class, jazz class, aerobics class. Every laugh, every conversation, every trip to Starbucks, Kohl's, and Walmart. To her friends who are here, and thank you for this phenomenal turnout. Thank you for loving our mother so well. You were the world to her, and you mattered enormously to her. To her grandchildren, Alex, Brandon, Grant, Hillary, and Stella, you were her pride and joy. She wasn't just your grandmother, she was your fan club, your safe place, your biggest believer. You were her greatest treasures. This past year, our family was incredibly lucky to have an extraordinary caretaker, Rebecca. We were downright giddy when our mom finally started getting her hair done weekly, and she counted down to those Friday appointments like a child waiting for a holiday. Rebecca didn't just care for our parents, she cared for us too, giving us comfort and peace of mind and keeping us informed every step of the way. Thank you, much to Janice's chagrin. As our mom needed more support, we teamed up with Rebecca to form a fierce advocacy trio known as Team Janice. We even have pink t-shirts. Rebecca, thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.
My mom's recognition spread beyond her family, friends, and students. In fact, on February 3rd, the County of Los Angeles honored her life and achievements by adjourning their meeting in her name. She would have wanted to know what all the fuss was about. And then Amazon. Pink sweaters, floral tops, sometimes the same sweater twice. We're half expecting a sympathy card asking where their best customer went. Beyond being my mom, Janice nurtured hundreds of students. For some, she was the only steady, loving adult in their lives. Many stayed in touch with her for decades, thanking her for believing in them when no one else did. And today, on Valentine's Day, her very favorite holiday, I feel like it is exactly right to celebrate a woman whose entire life was a masterclass in love. Janice Ellman loved fiercely. She lived fully, and she made this world brighter. I am who I am because of her. And while I would give anything not to be standing here today, I am endlessly grateful that I got to be her daughter. If you listen very carefully tonight, as you drift off to sleep, you might just hear Janice tap dancing across the sky.
the tables over there.
Mom, thank you for the magic. We feel your fairy dust everywhere.
Hello, hello. Hey, I'm Alex. There's actually a shirtless photo of me over here on table 1. You want to check that out on your way out. I am the very proud oldest grandson of Janice, and to take one of my mom's stories right off the rip, I wanted to acknowledge the fact that the Albertsons here had a memorial to her. When my mom mentioned that to me, I just immediately felt how that was such a testament to who she was. It didn't matter if you were a grandkid or a daughter or a son or a son-in-law or someone from TAP or an employee at Albertsons. She just had this infectious, kind, loving personality about her, and it's just such, to have somewhere in your community recognize that, I think, is just such a special thing. Because not a lot of people have that third place and the place where they have that sense of community. So I think it was a huge, statement, for them to have that. So I wanted to shout that out. As I talked to some close friends of mine about, this loss, I realized how lucky we all were to have grandparents in our lives at this age. There's not many people who do, and it's a very rare thing, and I don't think that's lost on really any of us up here, how lucky we were to have not only grandparents in our lives, but grandparents who loved us so much. My mom often said that, us grandkids were the world to her, and that's truly how she made us feel every single time she saw us. Like, you actually could see her world light up when we walked in the room. She just always met us with so much love and kindness and enthusiasm, always wanted to hear about what was going on in our lives, and it was just a really special person to have in your life, and I'm really thankful to be able to spend so much of my life with, a grandparent that was so, involved in it. And as I was thinking of a personal kind of story to tell that encapsulated that spirit and the fairy dust spirit, as my Aunt Lisa put it, things crossed my mind, the 100-degree trips to the Beaumont fire station just so I could sit, in a fire truck, or rushing me outside when the trash truck was coming down the street so I could watch it pick up the recycling. I still do that, by the way. But there's one story that stands out above the rest, and when I was talking to my brother about what our speeches were going to be about, he instantly pulled it out of the air too, and it's the story of my ish. And my ish was this old, ratty, maroon t-shirt, I think was my dad's shirt, but this thing had holes in it. It looks more like something you would use to, dry a car after a car wash.
It was a torn up Harvard t-shirt.
Torn up Harvard t-shirt, just beat to crap, But I carried this thing everywhere I went, all the way until I was 34. Kidding, but I carried this thing everywhere, and there's a memory I have where we were driving in the car. I don't remember where we were going, but I had my ish on me as I did. On the 10 freeway, either probably going to Moore Park or to the fire station, something like that. And my ish flew out of the window of my grandpa's car onto the 10. And a notoriously busy freeway, as I'm sure you're all aware. Most people would chalk that up to an L at that point. Too bad, we're going to find you another, cloth to use and carry around. But not my grandma Janice. My grandma Janice has my grandpa pull over into the shoulder of the 10th freeway, and she proceeds to run across all the lanes of traffic, Frogger style, dodging cars, to retrieve this ish for me and bring it back to the car. And to me, that is just the perfect encapsulation of who she was as a person and as a grandmother. And there's just no doubt in my mind that she would run across traffic and grab the ish of anybody in this room. That's just the kind of person that she was, and she will be so terribly missed by all of us. And I love her very much. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Brandon Feig. I am Janice's grandson and Cindy's youngest. I am the other shirtless male. And I don't know if you could tell by my mom's glare, but she's mildly disappointed I don't have kids yet. But I feel very privileged to be speaking today because I truly feel that I'm speaking about someone that is remarkable. She was remarkable in each aspect of her life. She was a remarkable mother in which she raised 3 perfect children, a wife in which she truly put someone else's life before her own, and no matter what the relationship she had, sister, friend, aunt, you name it, she was remarkable in all aspects. Today I'd like to talk about how she was a remarkable grandmother. When I was growing up, she was exactly what you wanted out of a grandmother. She let me and my brother eat more candy than my parents would have liked. She let my brother and I stay up later than my parents would have liked. And she let my brother and I watch TV shows that my parents probably wouldn't have liked us watching. But that's what makes a great grandma, spoiling your grandchildren and saying, don't tell your mom and dad. As a child, a lot of my memories with grandma are here in Sun Lakes. Whenever we used to visit, I'll never forget the Kmart runs we used to make, where everyone in Kmart stopped what they were doing to say hi to grandma as if she were president. To this day, we still call grandma the Queen of Sun Lakes. We would always get coffee, and I put that in quotes because it was really a drip of coffee with 9 packets of sugar and 4 cups of cream. She also let us buy a toy with each visit. At home, she would make us her famous pizza, which was English muffins with American cheese melted on top, and her famous salad, which was tomatoes and black olives, which was always a welcome break from all the sugar. At night, we'd watch Early Edition, where a man had got the next day's newspaper a day early, and she would go out, and the man would go out and help people before an accident happened. Even this show was likely too violent for my brother and I at a young age, but she liked it because it taught a valuable lesson, that you should be helping others. She loved having my brother and I in Sun Lakes, and we loved being there with her. A lot of my early memories will always be here because of her. She even watched some of my 7-year-old baseball games with a huge smile on her face. And let me tell you, there is nothing worse than watching baseball at 7 years old. As I grew up, the things I appreciated about my grandma expanded. While she would still offer to pump us full of sugar, the thing I admired about her was her selflessness. I'm yet to meet an individual who cares more about the happiness and well-being of others more than my grandma. No matter the event, no matter the person, grandma would ensure that their happiness came first. But it wasn't just about being selfless. You could look up any quality that makes a human great, and she would embody all of them. Kindness, generosity, empathy, integrity, you name it, and my grandma was it. She had a glow about her that she carried each and every day of her life, and when you were in her presence, it rubbed off on you, and I think that's what makes a person truly special. Even though we had so many special moments together, I was fortunate enough to have one that will have a lasting impression. As her and Pop-Pop grew older, it became difficult for them to make the trip out from Sun Lakes to Moore Park. The last few Thanksgivings and Hanukkahs were spent here in Sun Lakes. However, this holiday season, which we did not know would be a month before her passing, she was open to the idea of my mom picking her up, bringing her to Moore Park where our family lived, so she could enjoy an event with other members of the family. This was the first and only time she agreed to this, and we were so excited to have her at the house after all these years. I was also going to be home this trip for an extended time, and I was lucky enough to spend 4 days with her at my parents' house. We watched Jeopardy, a documentary about elephants, and I even shared an In-N-Out meal together because burgers and fries were her favorite. Grandma may have been small in stature, but she could definitely put away burgers and fries with the best of them. I had 4 interrupted days with her just a month before her passing, and I still cannot believe how lucky I am to have those moments with her. It is truly something I will cherish the rest of my life. Thank you to everyone who is here to help celebrate her life. What I can say is that every time I saw my grandmother, she always had a big smile on her face. She always talked about her friends and her activities, and truly loved the people that she kept in her company. Being here with so many others who helped make my grandma's life what it was is truly a blessing. Thank you.
I hate public speaking, but anything for Janice. Hello everyone, my name is Stella Pinto. I am the daughter of Lisa Beth Elman Pinto, who is the daughter of Janice Elman, which makes me Janice's granddaughter. I am the 5th grandchild, which also makes me the youngest. I truly believe in my heart that Grandma never had a favorite grandchild. I'm serious. That woman had enough love in her heart to give us all equally. None of my other grandparents are here, so I can say comfortably, unlike her, I had a favorite grandparent, and it was her. I never actually said that out loud because I didn't want to upset anyone in particular, but I think she always knew. When I was a child, I remember thinking the adults in my life just weren't doing it right. I mean, if I had the free will and money, why wouldn't you just wear pink every day? Grandma was living proof that age doesn't mean you have to stop having fun. She showed me that you can wear the clothes you want, the jewelry you love, and the makeup that makes you feel good, and that joy has no expiration date. When my mom and dad lived on our house, when we all lived at our house on Mansfield, she would often come over and stay for a week at a time. We would have a ball. We would play dress up. We would make egg salad for my mom to take to work tonight the next day. And she taught me how to spell my name, which is important. I never liked school as a kid, but Grandma was always my favorite teacher. Even to this day, Grandma and I always shared, up until recently, shared the love for clothes and fashion, which is internal. Even right now, I'm wearing her jacket and the bow necklace that I always wanted my entire life. So I'll always have something to remind myself of her. I love you, Grandma, and I promise to never stop loving the color pink.
Hey everyone, my name's Grant. I'm super grateful to be here with all of you today celebrating Grandma Janice. I'm going to play a song for her. The song is called Breath of Life, and I calculated that Grandma took around 700 million breaths while she was alive. And so this song is about honoring every last breath that she took and how much love, as all my other my cousins shared, not my grandchildren, but shared, honoring all of the beauty and the love that she was. So this song's called Breath of Life. Behind the fight of life, fly on, turning our minds, we got to know the self, a breath of our life, right on, leave behind the fight or flight, we fly on, yes, turning our minds, we got to know the breathe in a new type of our energy. I disconnected from the external sensory, and now I hold a vision of pristine clarity. Envision people living in prosperity. I breathe out and release all the density. Listen closely to the harmonies and melodies. And now I'm holding and unfolding to the remedy, the heavenly presence of serenity. We got to get out of our own way, holy. No, the heaviness don't carry no weight, no way. Don't be waiting for somebody's okay, obey. Only the voice inside your heart and what your conscience say. You know we trust in the guidance from the silence eternal, and with the power of the breath of flying over the hurdles. Let the fire burn as we affirm that we are eternal. Violet flaming on my brain is glowing up a bright say a breath of our life, right on. I leave behind the fight of flight, we fly on. We turning our minds, we got to know the self, you know. A breath of our life, right on. I leave behind the fight of flight, we fly on. Turning our minds, we got to. I breathe in as if it was my last day on this earth, and God gifted me the opportunity to serve. Now I hold it, observe the beauty we deserve. The waves coming, whether we like it or not, it's time to surf. Breathe out and obliterate the fear and the doubt. The water abundant, no need to manufacture the drought. Now I hold it out and love my whole being throughout, cause we are perfect as we are, and our purpose allow. So let go of the attachment to the physical material, creating more efficiently, reside in the ethereal. Not the one to take our freedom, make it illegal. We're immune to the fake disease, and our people are peaceful, are safe, and no need to stress, everything blessed. Gotta be free to express, people depressed. Nevertheless, we're gonna get back up out of the mess, and we rising above with the power of breath, rising above with the power of breath, rising above with the power of breath. You know we take a breath of a life for Janice now. I leave behind the fight of light, we fly on. We're turning our minds, we got to know a breath of our life, right on. I leave behind the fight of life, we fly on, turning our minds, we got to know the self. Take a deep breath for Janice right now. We love you so much. Sending you peace and blessings as you transition to the other dimensions. Janice, we love you so much. We love you so dearly.
Sad to be here, but it's also an honor to talk about such an amazing person. This is a sad service for me, as it is for everyone here, as I eulogize my wonderful Aunt Janice. From the Jewish perspective, the funeral service is a brief and simple service, designed primarily for the honor and dignity of the deceased. This is done by highlighting the good and the beautiful in the life of Janice, and affords an implicit consolation for the mourners. Memorial service confronts all who attend with the fact that our own mortality, of our own mortality, and impels us to consider our own future and to evaluate our own lives. The eulogy has a significant focus in a Jewish funeral. One of the most important obligations of a mourner is to provide a eulogy. This is a wonderful honor for me to be sharing my thoughts and memories of Janice, along with some of the Jewish customs. Abraham, the first patriarch of the Jewish people, eulogized his wife Sarah, and that has been the custom for the Jewish people to this day, to honor the dead and to treat them with reverence and respect. The purpose of the eulogy is twofold. First is to praise the deceased for their worthy qualities, as you have heard so much today by all the people who loved her. The second purpose is to have concern for the welfare of the living by expressing grief and their sense of loss experienced by the mourners and, in this case, the whole community. Jewish laws and customs mandate that the feelings of the survivor of the deceased never be ignored. Janice was 19 years old and single when I was born, and she had a close relationship with my mom, was an active member of our family, playing with me and my older brother as we grew up, all of us living in Baltimore. Janice married when I was about 6 years old and lived in Baltimore until I was 8. Even after Janice, Alvin, and the children moved away from our hometown, she and the 3 children would come to stay at my parents' house with my family for many of the summers. We had a small 3-bedroom row house with 1 bathroom. Janice and the children would stay in my bedroom with twin beds, and we would add a crib for one of the children when one of the children were little. With the 3 children, the littlest one in the crib, we would push the twin beds together, and the 4 of us, me, Janice, Cynthia, and Lisa, would all sleep in the twin beds together. Amazingly, it all worked out for the whole summer, with my mom and Janice talking about shopping, makeup, and mothering. These were wonderful times. As I grew older, my mom and I would sometimes clash over our differing personalities. So during long school holidays and breaks, my mom would send me to Janice's house, starting when I was about 14 years old, no matter where in the world they lived. I would help her with Cynthia, Lisa, and David, and keep her company. Consequently, Janice and I were very close, especially after my mom died 30 years ago. Janice and I were both the petite ones in the family, and we would share clothes. She would pass her clothes down to me, some of which I still wear today. I learned so much about life from her, including life lessons passed down to her from her mother, my grandmother, who was also such an important part of my life. I was very fortunate that my grandmother lived until I was about 40 years old. When I had heard that Janice had taken her last breath, I had an image of her and my mom in heaven, talking about clothes, putting on makeup together, and telling funny stories about their father, our grandfather, and catching frogs at the pond with David. Everyone who met Janice was immediately engaged with her. She was extremely friendly and made those around her feel welcomed and accepted for who they were. She was a devoted mother and wife. So much of what I observed during my summers and holidays with her and her family, even from a young age, somehow stayed in the back of my mind and were brought forward when I married and became a mother. She had lots of wisdom and perspective and respect for others with tolerance and patience. I'm so fortunate that I visited Janice for her 92nd birthday in October. We had a wonderful time together. We talked and laughed and cried. And I have that memory to add to all of my other great memories. The Jewish memorial prayer is a beautiful prayer, and it has been chanted in the same way for many years. The prayer is self-explanatory. It is a prayer on behalf of the dead, unlike the mourner's Kaddish, which we will all say shortly. The Jewish memorial prayer goes like this. O God, full of compassion, thou who dwellest on high, grant perfect rest beneath the sheltering wings of thy presence, among the holy and pure, who shine as the brightness on the heavens, unto the soul of Janice, the daughter of Isaac and Rebekah, who has gone into eternity, and whose memory charity is offered. May her repose in paradise. May the Lord of mercy bring her under the cover of his wings forever, and may her soul be bound up in the bond of eternal life. May the Lord be her possession, and may she rest in peace. Amen. In addition to this memorial prayer, Jewish service also has a recitation of the 23rd Psalm. The psalm expresses the most intimate, personal relationship of man with his beloved God. Troubles may abound, agony may strike the soul, but this is one comforting thought, that the Lord is my shepherd. As a shepherd seeks to guide and care for his flock, and seeks fertile pastures, always staying close to his flock, and helps them grow and develop, so does God, the divine shepherd, watch over his flock, the Jewish people. We, the members of his flock, may sometimes in our despair doubt the justice of the shepherd. We may not understand his ways, but we are comforted that he is concerned with our welfare. On your table you have a copy of the 23rd Psalm, and we can recite it together. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and staff shall comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. My brother Arthur also has something to add about the 23rd Psalm. Do you want to say it now?
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
In Janice's memory, it is a Jewish custom to make donations in lieu of flowers to an organization that was important to her. Donations at the time of the funeral are an ancient Jewish custom. It is in the spirit of dignity and in keeping with Jewish tradition to make such contributions as memorials to those no longer living. Cynthia is a volunteer leader in Hadassah, a women's Zionist organization of America.
Janice was very proud of Cynthia's work with Hadassah, and a donation to Hadassah in Janice's memory would mean a lot to her, and information has been provided on here. There's a QR code. The Jewish words of condolence to the family are, may God comfort you among the other mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. And my husband David will recite that in Hebrew.